My name is Maria Conlon. I'm a San Francisco city guide since 2000, born and raised in San Francisco, and I do these tours once a month. This room was done by Jane Berlandina, who was the architect's wife. She did a very different take on fresco art. Hers is called fresco secco. So the pigment and the plaster are allowed to dry and additional medium is added. Hers was agate tempera. 26 artists were part of the Public Works of Art project at Coit Tower. 19 assistants, all artists in their own right. They were picked by regional committee. Some called it an elitist program, but the success of the Public Works of Art project spawned the Work Progress Administration and the Federal Arts Project. This is called Children at Play. So you can see that influence in his fresco. A fresco is Italian for fresh. It is a wet plaster base where dry pigment is added, and one artist was in charge of grounding the pigment for all of the works, which give it some continuity. The pigment and the plaster, a sketch is put on the wall, and then the dry pigment is added with water, and when the pigment and the plaster dry, the work is permanent. After 100 years, it crystallizes, and then it is completely permanent. So we're almost there. That's a good piece of history right there. That's the May Day strike that John Langley Howard has done. And that was the first union strike in San Francisco where men died. It also is an example of something that's commonly used in fresco art, which is collections. This also was the site of some controversy. Right between here were 3 frescoes that were removed because the tower had not yet been open, and the newspapers of the time took some of the art out of context and composed it together. So in between, this is William Hestel, Clifford Wright, who's done surveyor and ironworker. In between, he had a chain link bridge with capitalism, a $sign here, and communism over there, a hammer and sickle. So they took the hammer and sickle and they put it over the May Day strike, and they caused a stir that threatened the whole pieces, all the pieces. One of the first women you'll see as one of the main artists, Suzanne Scher. It's called News Gathering. She used the gun-slit window to dry the comics of the time. The artists were known to put themselves and the other artists, their family members in the piece. This is Ralph Stackpole's son, Peter Stackpole. And this is Ralph's work over here. He later became a famous photographer for the Golden Gate and the Bay Bridge. Notice he's put himself in his piece as well as right next to the masses in the Daily Worker. So Lucien Legault, who worked on the frescoes on the stairs that we just saw, he worked in fashion, and this artist decided to put him at the back of a cow as a little joke. Some of our tour guides were concerned and had voiced that, and they're trying to get the Art Commission to renovate. The problem is that fresco art, if it is not properly renovated, it can destroy it. The crystallization process happens after 100 years, and if the wrong thing is applied, it can damage the work. So it's a painstaking process and expensive. So we're hoping to find the funding to have it fixed. It's a great example of a pilot program during the New Deal for Franklin Roosevelt, and because of its success, which some said was elitist, but its success spawned so many other programs that are all over our country and have benefited many, many people.